तो अब दुख होता है कि बिना नहीं है, वरना ठीक था। Sorry.
Okay, am I audible now?
Yeah.
So keep it that way. So actually, I was told that this function will start at 7 and by 8 o'clock it will be over and people will be having dinner. And it's very dangerous to stand between people and their food. And Padma Shris don't count on that. But I have prepared a brief talk which is titled Making a Difference. And since I may not get an opportunity to meet such talented crowd at one place very easily, person to person, I see many of you across the distance education. So I thought I would just share some of my thoughts. So, all of you wish to make a difference, right, to yourselves to begin with, to your families. You want to become rich, successful, you want to lead a happy life, common sense. What do you think is essential? So far, you have been studying, first in school, then in college, some of you may study more, but you seem to have concluded, your parents seem to have concluded, that once you go through the grinding meal of 12 years of school and 4 years of college, you're good. Unfortunately, the studies that you have done, particularly in the later years, are symptomatic of divisions in knowledge. These divisions come in terms of fields. So most of you, or some of you are electronics and communication something, some of you are computer science. There is some colleagues of yours who would be mechanical engineers. In the morning I briefly mentioned how dangerous it is to concentrate only on your own domain. The real world problems will be of all kinds. And I am glad that you are learning that. But there are other issues, and to explain what those issues are, I will take a different example. You are all doing your bachelor's, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's an educational degree.
Yes.
You do an ME, that's also an educational degree.
Yes.
What about PhD? It's not simple education. It's what you call it research, right? You believe that PhD is a research degree?
Yes.
That's the first thing I want you to get out of your mindset. Never ever treat research and education as two distinct, mutually exclusive entities. It's the biggest nonsense and a fraud that is being perpetuated on younger people by older people like me. What is research? You believe, you would have seen your teachers and others doing research, they write a PhD thesis, you believe they write a fat thesis and they get a PhD. That is nonsense. PhD is about acquiring and refining a particular kind of mindset. That mindset is about the ability to understand broad contours of any problem. That mindset is about developing critical analytical abilities so that you go to the depth of any particular issue. That mindset is about meticulousness. That mindset is about rigor. You understand rigor? In maths you understand some rigor. So let me ask you a question. A not equal to B not equal to C means what? A, B, C are distinct values. Well, it is not rigorous enough. You want to be rigorous, you have to say A not equal to B not equal to C not equal to A. Because the first one does not guarantee that A and C are not equal. Now you realize that? But the first one you would have taken to be correct. That is lack of rigor. To develop that rigor in your mind, that's the requirement of that mindset. That mindset must also develop tremendous ability to articulate your thoughts well. And no matter which language you articulate it in. I have heard many complaints that my mother tongue is not English, therefore I make mistakes in writing English. That is rubbish of the highest order. Anybody who claims that, I challenge you to write 20 sentences in your own mother tongue. And you will prove to yourself that there also you make mistakes. And that is because you have never disciplined your mind to spend time and effort to write correctly. Those who discipline their mind to write correctly in their mother tongue, they will also spend time and effort to write correctly in any other language, including English. Like most of you, my mother tongue is also not English. In fact, most of the teachers and students here do not speak English. And yet you have to acquire the knowledge of that language for proper articulation, both spoken and written. No shortcut. I was speaking about the PhD that represents a mindset, and I told you a variety of things. There are a few additional things that you have to remember. It's a mindset which is about solving hard problems, which is about solving problems innovatively. And that mindset is about perseverance, not giving up when something doesn't work. How many times in life things don't work? But you can give up and keep trying, or you can overcome that in a night's sleep and say, next day morning, chalo, we'll go ahead. Now, when you develop this mindset, your guide usually says, okay, you submit your thesis and get a PhD. Now, tell me the mindset which I described, is it not necessary to develop that throughout all your life? For example, when you were in 5th standard school, was it not expected that you should be able to articulate your thoughts very well? It was expected. When you are in 10th or 11th standard studying maths, was it not expected that you should be able to think logically, prove theorems properly, rigorously, and understand all logical arguments? 10th standard. You are all in college. Are you not expected to solve real problems innovatively, which is what you are doing now? So you see, the development of this mindset is a perpetual process. It starts when you are born, and it does not end till you die. PhD is merely a landmark somewhere in between where the society says that we believe you have achieved this mindset to a certain perfection. But that mindset must be achieved throughout. And therefore, it is stupid to say what I do before is education and what I do later is research. Nothing like that. Research mindset is required to the 5th standard student, so the 5th standard student is also doing research. What you did is research. You may not call it research. You may not have perfected the methodology. For example, when you read some research papers or journals or books or something, how many of you took meticulous notes? How many of you can recite that I read these 4 papers and the author of the second paper was so and so and he has written some more paper? That is the kind of extensive work that you are expecting. So develop that mindset. Why is it that many of us fail to develop that mindset? Take your own colleges. You apparently have developed that mindset to a more refined extent than many of you have. Why? You also have not developed it to the extent, I'm sure you realize that, to the extent that would make you the best. Why? My answer to this is, there are many factors. Environment is one factor, etc., etc. The most important factor is attitude to life. And your attitude is formed, sadly, by the rat race for marks that you have been pursuing all throughout your education. He got 90% marks, he's a genius. I got 60% marks, I'm a lover. In fact, if I actually get 60% marks, there will be matam in my home, people will be crying, open a cycle shop or something useless. And then so a rat race produces a few winners who sadly develop not only overconfidence but sometimes arrogance. Recall when you got the branch of your choice in your college, when you were among the top ones, in the first semester you went there. How were you feeling? The top of the world. We deal with such people every year. It takes us one semester to bash the arrogance out of their head. Because then they realize that everybody around them is exactly identical. So please understand that that arrogance doesn't pay off. However, this happens with only a few people. But for those few winners, there are a large number of losers. There are many students in the country who would have wanted to get into IIT desperately, would have worked very hard for it. And when they did not get into IIT, they would have felt terrible. They are losers. So each one of us is simultaneously a winner somewhere and a loser somewhere. Sadly, this winning and losing decides my attitude. I perpetually compare myself with this person, etc. This is not good because this will not get you anywhere. So my first suggestion is you have to reset your attitude. The most favorite lines that I always say is that in any rat race, today it is for marks, then it will be for money, then it will be for fame. Any rat race will always produce only a few winner rats and a large number of loser rats, but only rats. You want to be human beings. And that's the fundamental. You do participate in a race, there is a positive meaning. The moment you let it become rat race, you are gone. Because you are then perpetually asking yourself, have you done better than someone else? Your entire life gets defined that you believe that the recognition, only means of recognition is doing something better than others. This is nonsense. Comparison with others will eventually sting. The only right comparison to make is with oneself. So I'll ask you the fundamental. I learned luckily very early to ask this question. You know what that question is? After doing any task, I don't even see whether 90% are how he has done it or 40% are how he has done it. Sorry, not 40%. I don't care. But I ask this question. Could I have done it better? Me at the age of 65, I still ask this question. Whenever I do an important task, could I have done it better? And believe me when I tell you this, so far in my entire life, I have not found the answer as no. It's always yes. But with every yes, I have learned something. I have made myself better. Isn't that the ambition? I should get the best out of myself. Why do I care what he does or what she does? Except to rejoice when they do well, not to feel jealous. But this is what relative grading is. So get rid of this relative grading. Learn to ask this question. Could I have done it better? You will go back now, and I am sure that throughout the day after the results were declared, some thought which is sinking in your mind is, oh, that fellow got a first prize, I got a third prize. How many of you have started asking this question right now? I have done this, how could I have done it better? Believe me, when you ask that question, you will do it 20 times more. Prizes and accolades will follow. Even if they don't follow, it doesn't matter. You would have acquired knowledge. What distinguishes between IIT system and other colleges is this ethos. Otherwise, they are the same people. Are people different? Of course they are different. But there is a great similarity between all people. And that is shared by the God's endowment of minimal logical thinking capability to every human brain. I explain this in a simple example. Learning a foreign language is a difficult task. People spend 2-3 years to learn German, French, Arabic or whatever it is. And yet every human child learns a foreign language at the age of 5 years, 6 years. You have learnt it, 90% of us learnt it, 60% of us also learnt it. Maybe I am not as good as him in articulation, but at the age of 6 years, I could articulate my thoughts and I could understand what others were saying very clearly. And not only that was a foreign language, it was the first ever language that I learned, or he learned, or everybody learned. All of you have done that. No matter where you later on stood in the rat race, all of you have done that. So God has given you enough beja to solve complex problems. What is it that all of us had when we were children, and perhaps that is missing now? So look at the child's attitude. I consider a child to be characterized by 4 features, 4 characteristics. First, curiosity. You have seen children tremendously curious about everything. Everything. Second, boldness to ask questions. Anything that comes to mind, what is this, what is that, what is that? Imagine what, you were all asking questions when you were 6 years old. At that time your parents were saying, ah, Baba, acha sawal. You go to the school teacher says, don't waste time. You go to the college, some teacher will say, don't ask idiotic questions. You stop asking questions. And when you stop asking questions, you kill your curiosity. Please remember, as a child, when you ask questions, you are not really asking questions to others. You are asking questions to yourself. Because you want to understand what is there. The day you stop asking questions, you kill your curiosity. As a child, you had this curiosity, you had this boldness. The third that you had was perseverance. Again, recall a child, nephew, niece, somebody else. A child decides to do something really naughty. Let's say a child wants to take this and throw this down. Most children want to do that. Now, if a child decides to do it, how would a child approach? It will first come here and try to climb up. Small child, fall down twice, thrice. Fourth time the mother will catch it. Mother will ask the child to stand in a corner. Child will stand there. It will cry for 2 minutes, then again see here, there. Do you remember that? No child ever gives up. 7th time, 8th time, 9th time it will pull up some chair, stand up on the chair, then stand up on the table, take this and throw it. And when it breaks, the child will dance with joy. When did you last dance with such joy? I'm not suggesting to climb on tables and throw things. But I'm suggesting, why have you forgotten what you are so capable of doing when you are children? You never gave up. But once you start studying, instead of solving hard problems in the book, you say, oh, question paper. So problem 1, 3, 7, 30. Suppose I come to him saying this problem number 23, boss, I can't solve. He's my senior. Oh, 23. Ye pariksha mein nahi aayega. So all my rat race is defining what I said. You know, difficult problems, I'll give you two examples. One is an incident which occurred when I was a young teacher. A student of mine who used to be on the chess team, I used to be the coach of the chess team. He came after a term exam with a paper saying, Phatak, how do we solve this question 3? It was the electrical fields problem. I took that question paper, read the question, immediately realized I could not solve it. Paper was sent by one late Professor K.C. Mukherjee, a terror in those days. His typical evaluation would be 36.5 marks out of 125. So meticulously correct. So I could not solve it. Of course, I was a smart person like him, being an IIT, and so I told him I am a computer science professor. Being equally smart, he said, no, but your degree is electrical engineering. Then I confessed I can't solve it. But then I said, I am a teacher now, so let's both go to Professor K.C. We go to Professor K.C. Mukherjee. The moment he sees us approaching in his cabin and sees that question paper dangling in my hand, he starts smiling. And then loudly says, so Phatak, question 3, huh? I said, yes. We sit down and this friend of mine says, sir, what is the answer? He looks at him and says, I don't know. He was shocked. Then he turned to me and he says, Phatak, this is a part of an unsolved research problem pending for 10 years. But you know, this batch is so smart, I thought somebody will solve it. Like you, I did my engineering from Indore. I don't know about your colleges, but if it had happened in Indore, the vice chancellor would have been here out. Syllabus ka bahar ka sawal pucha. Not permitted. The story doesn't end here. To tell you what is the ethos in IIT, that evening, large number of students from his batch were in one particular hostel. And they threw a milkshake party. You know milkshake? Okay, in those days, milkshake was the costliest enjoyment item. And a milkshake party to be thrown in a hostel. If the hostel has won some inter-hostel hockey tournament or some debating shield or some big thing has happened, there will be a milkshake party. So the General Secretary walked in the evening and found out a milkshake party. He said, I'm General Secretary, I don't know what great thing has happened. He goes and inquires, why the hell are you having a party? And that fellow, oh, you don't know? The great Professor K.C. Mukherjee thinks that we can solve unsolved research problems, so we are celebrating. This is the ethos. And this has absolutely nothing to do whether they were 90 markers or 60% markers, nothing. It's just the ethos. To believe that solving hard problems, attempting to solve problems is easy. To consolidate this thought, because I believe it's very important, I'll give you another example. You play games, some kind of sports, badminton, everybody knows badminton? Okay. Suppose you play a 3-game match with me. You don't know how I play. I don't know how you play. So you start playing a natural game. You soon discover that this teacher's role model is Ganapati. Meaning, I stand at one. If the shuttle comes nearby, I try to return it. You easily defeat love game. Now it's a best of 3 match. You play the second game. Just think what will happen to your game second time. You will stop running because you know this Lallu doesn't run. You will still win. You will still beat me in love game. But the second game would see a deteriorated game on you. Now imagine, you are playing with the world champion. I don't know, some of you might be world champion capable, but I think you will agree that if you play with the world champion, he will make a mincemeat of you. First game, you will play naturally. and you will again lose at love. But do you agree if I say that in the second game, you will run a little faster, you will concentrate a little more, and you will at least get one shot on his head. You will still lose. What it means? Second time your game would have improved. Why? Because you are attempting to solve a difficult problem. In the first game you defeated me, you were very happy with the deteriorated game. In the second game you are frustrated because you lost, but you learnt a lot. If you agree with this, then here is my theory, which is largely adopted in IIT. Solving 10 simple problems successfully gives you a lot of pleasure, no knowledge. Attempting to solve 10 very difficult problems, not getting a single solution right, gives you a lot of frustration, but tremendous amount of knowledge. Please learn that. The problems that you solve for this event is not the kind of problem that you solve in your examinations. You have already proven to yourself that you are capable of solving a hard problem. Some of you could not solve it completely. Many of you would like to revise it, but you have attempted it. And imagine the result. Don't give that up. Very, very important. Solving hard problems and solving them innovative. You know, innovation. You might another anecdote, it will take 5 minutes, but this is something which happened in my class. Innovation is not something, great research or something. It can come while solving simple problems. So I was teaching information system course to non-computer science students, and those days I was working on smart cards. You know smart cards? Yes. So I was running the country's first pilot on debit credit cards for Reserve Bank. So those days for 150 rupees you would get a smart card which had an 8-bit processor and 4 kilobytes of memory. Very small. My challenge to them is I explained to them that this is what the smart card does, but I said in 15 to 20 years time, a smart card will be a 64-bit processor for 150 rupees. It will have 32 megabytes of memory. It will have a cryptographic processor, variety of things. So there you will not be doing just debit credit transactions. Design an application which is suitable for running on that card at 100. So there were teams who built, one fellow built a family tree, just insert it and you see everybody's relation, who, etc. Somebody built a medical system. You go to a doctor, anybody in the family. So you put your number and suddenly, for last 10 years, what was the medication given, what was the disease, everything is there. Easy for doctor, easy for you. Good happen. One particular group submitted an application which was called cog sheet application. You need to be told what is cog sheet in IIT terminology. If you write down answers in short to some important questions on a piece of paper and then fold it and keep it in your pocket and then go into the examination hall. It's a copying sheet. It's called cog sheet. It's quite popular among students. So that application was a cog sheet application on a smart card. So they had designed a database with chapters, question numbers, etc., and so on. And I was angry, so during the Viva, I asked that fellow, this is an unethical application. And the team leader proudly says, sir, that was not a condition of the assignment. So I forgot to specify that. Then I said, but how will you use it? He says, read assumption. They required a point of sale terminal or a computer. So I said, you require a computer in an exam, how will you use it? So he said, assumption 3. In 2015, all tests will be online. So there will be computer. I was angry with them, but how do I shout at them? So what I told them is, no, but in 2015, if I am around, and luckily I am going to be around in 2015, I will still conduct the normal test. So go back, and you don't have to implement, but design an interface such that you can use this cog sheet without a computer on the table, and while I am invigilating. They asked for 15 days time, and this is what they did. They didn't have to build it. So they designed the smart card with an additional digital signal processing chip, which could convert text to audio. They had a transmitter receiver on the chip. They had an audio receiver which was to be put in right here. And they had a pressure sensor and a transmitter which had to be put in the left ear. All connected through Wi-Fi. So when I get the question paper and I see, this is chapter 2, question 4, I am supposed to pull my ear down 2 times and up 4 times.
Wow.
The 2 and 4 goes there as input. SQL query is run. It extracts the answer. The digital signal processing chip converts it to audio, it is played, I listen to it and I write answers. I did not like that purpose of the application, but I gave them an A grade. Please realize that this is not rocket technology. As electronic students, you would know that even in those days, the basic technology was there. So note that when you desperately desire to solve a problem, you will think of umpteen different. My only suggestion is solve ethical problems rather than it is doable. And none of them are computer science students. None of them are the so-called JEE rankers, BTech students. Most of them are MTech students who come from other colleges. But challenged, they could do it. What you need is to create a challenge for yourself. You can make a difference, I have no doubt about it. So to make a difference, remember these things. Set up your attitude right. Work hard, because you cannot create history without working hard. Dream big, because small dreams will suffocate your achievements. And enjoy life. Enjoy life is very, very important, because time is a one-way affair. Time only passes. You know, suppose you sulk because something wrong has happened today, and those moments are past, they never come back. You see, it's very important to realize that if you lose money, you can always earn it back. You lose time, it will never come back. You must learn to enjoy every moment of your life. Whether you are studying, whether you are playing, whether you are arguing, whether you are fighting, whatever you are doing, you must enjoy while you fight. See, whatever you do. So that's what I say, if you want to make your life as beautiful as dewdrops. You all know dewdrops? For me, D stands for dreaming big, E stands for enjoying life, and W stands for working hard. Dream big, enjoy life, work hard. And please remember, as an IIT style assignment, any 2 out of the 3 is not permitted. All questions are compulsory. Because I had a student, I asked somebody after 2 years, where is he? He says, oh, he's not traceable. What happened? Sir, he took your instructions literally. He has been enjoying himself for 2 years. He did nothing else. Don't do that. And I am sure you will do very well. Last, I would like to remind you of something very specific to this nation. Do you know how many Indians are your age or younger than you? Approximately?
65%.
350 million Indians are younger than 19 years. The median age of the nation is 25. This is called demographic advantage. You are the leading age of that demographic advantage. You all got opportunities. Do you know the enrollment ratio of this nation is only 11%. 11% of the school pass-outs join colleges. We increased it to 16%. We hope to increase it to 30%. Amongst them, those who get into professional colleges are still less. And you all know that the wealth generation mechanisms of this century, the success generation mechanisms of this century will all depend upon professional knowledge. What it means is not only you have to succeed, you have to create opportunities for the 350 million people. If you are a leading age, that means you are leaders. You have that responsibility. Of course you must do well for yourselves. Of course you must do well for your families. But you must do something for the students behind you. Just start looking at your own college. Poor students who are not able to understand, whose English is weak, just help them out. Run a lab in your college on Saturday, Sunday. I saw that in Odisha at one place, Behram. One teacher used to run an electronics lab on Sunday. They would take a problem, design the whole thing, analyze it, build a circuit. And he says only 15 students are there. But those 15, 20 students went there without any syllabus, nothing. They solved that problem. Build a club of solving difficult problems. Many people said, sir, hamara syllabus mein nahi. Tell me who prevents you from making a coterie of 15 students, like-minded 15 students, going to the head of the department saying, every Sunday you would like to spend 3 hours doing some experiment. I challenge you that nobody will say no. Just appeal to them. In fact, if somebody says no, write a mail to me. I'll bash his head. All that you need is this commitment. That 15 people together will do something different. Something different. It could be whatever. Whatever you wish to do. But do something great so that you will be remembered by 350 million. Thank you very much. God bless you.